Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is an ongoing series for our trainer education, and it's in the Owning Your Own Gym series, and we're going to be discussing pricing. So we've been getting a couple emails from people who said they actually currently own their own gym or would like to own their own gym, and they've been asking some extra questions on this series. So yay! Thank you very much for listening, and it's freaking awesome that people are sending in questions. Thank you. So this is one of the questions we had, was how do they know if they over or underprice themselves? And this person operates an open gym, like an open facility, and they also have personal trainers in their facility. So they were kind of talking about pricing in regards to the gym itself and training. So I figured we'd make a quick little introduction, cover some of the questions they had, and then if they or other people had any more in-depth questions, they're welcome to email us at brutalirongym@gmail.com, and we'll give you some more information, okay? So the goal of this podcast is to help you decide on what is the right pricing. So there's kind of like that Goldilocks feeling where how much is too much, how much is too little, what is just right. So that's what we're going to go through. So I have some opinions, and it's based on my facility. I've owned Brutal Iron Gym now for coming up on 9 years in February, and I've been part of the management of other gyms as well. So this is like my first one where I got to make all the choices and decisions and make all the mistakes. So I'll tell you what some of my mistakes were, and then you can learn from them and not make them yourself. And then I've been a personal trainer for 17 years now, and that's been in this facility, in a bunch of different facilities, and also as a private individual trainer who just, like I used to travel to people's houses. I used to kind of be independent of different gyms, kind of float from gym to gym, whichever gym would allow me. So I've been part of a gym structure, been part outside of a structure, and I've had my own place. So I've kind of worked in a, variety of ways. So I'll tell you everything I've learned until this point, and then maybe in another 10 years, I'll make you another podcast, okay? So far, the pros and cons. Let's go through some goods and bads of pricing too low and pricing too high. So the tempting aspect of pricing too low. So why would someone want to price their gym too low? And this would be for training as well, is the perk of that, or the excitement of that, is a fast growth. So if you have a very low price, you will draw more people in. So you will have a much faster growth in membership, or much faster growth in clientele. So I'll tell you a little bit more about my story in regards to specifically pricing later on, but that is something that you will see. So every gym I've ever been a part of is, if you underprice the local area, you will grow, because people are cheap, and if they can get a cheaper option somewhere, they're going to go look at it. So now, there are gyms that advertise themselves for, say, $10 a month. And those gyms, if you go in, you might realize, this isn't the kind of gym that I want. So the person might not join that gym, but they at least walked through the door, didn't they? So that's what you want as a gym owner or as a trainer, is you would want them to kind of feel you out. So if you're a gym owner and you have a low cost, people are going to pop their head in, they're going to look around. So you're going to get them through the door, which is the biggest obstacle. And then it's your job to keep them. But it's much easier to keep them if you can find them. Okay? So getting them through the door is the biggest hurdle, and a low price does that. As a personal trainer, if you price really low, it kind of does the same thing. So like when I first started, and I'll tell you more details later on, I started training at $20 an hour in the area I live at now. Now, I was making more than that, significantly more than that per hour, before I opened my own facility. But I wanted this facility to grow fast, so I underpriced everywhere else significantly. So I was charging only $20 an hour, and I very, very quickly, within like 2 or 3 months, maybe even faster than that, I got up to 50 hours a week of clientele. So it worked. It got me ridiculously full, ridiculously fast. So it did do that. So that is the tempting pro, okay, the tempting positives of pricing too low, is fast growth. The negatives, okay, is it brings all people, meaning all people. So ones who are dedicated, ones who are not. ones who have good character and ones who are a piece of crap human beings. And I hate saying it that way, but there are people who are kind of just, they're not good to have around your facility. So, for example, we'd have guys come in and they'd be, talking about the women or trying to hit on the women, and I'd be like, oh crap, this is not what I wanted. But a low price brought that in. You'd have people come in and they'd be, dropping F-bombs as loud as they could. They'd be throwing weights around, trying to impress everybody, trying to act all macho and basically just be total douchebags. Again, that was not good. That's not what I wanted. So you also have people come in and have no etiquette. So they'll be texting on their cell phone for 25 minutes rather than actually doing something on a piece of equipment. So that's the downside of fast growth, is you grow with anything. It's not a high quality of growth. It's a high quantity of growth. So the growth is fast, but not good all the time. Okay. So that is a huge, huge negative, by the way, enormous negative. And I'll talk more about this later on, but that's actually the biggest fault that I find for low pricing, is you just get poor character of people. Poor character of people equals a poor character of place. So your reputation will be tarnished by the people that are in your building. So you got to be careful about that. And then the cons to having a low price is you need more people. So if each person is paying, say you have 100 people that pay $40, well, if you're only charging $20, now you need 200 people. So if you have a low price, you need more people to cover your bills and expenses. And with more people comes more complaints, more problems, more wear and tear, more other side bullshit that you got to deal with, like people not paying on time, just all the crap that comes when you service and help people. Now, people are not bad, so I don't mean to sound like a total asshole, but it is just easier dealing with 100 people than it would be 1,000 people. That's kind of, I don't know how you could argue that. So that is just true. That's fact. So the lower price requires more people, more problems. Okay. And like we said, you don't know what the quality of the people is going to be. It's going to be kind of hit and miss and just kind of a little bit all over the place. Now, the pros or the positives of pricing too high. So what if you price yourself at a very elite cost? Well, you do need less people to pay your bills. So you think about it, like some CrossFit places, they charge over $100 a month, whereas you have regular commercial gyms might only charge, say, $30 a month. So if I'm charging each person 3 times the cost of normal, then I need a third of the people. Okay, so that's a benefit. So the higher cost equals less people, and then that would bring in less people, less complaints, less problems, less wear and tear. And then typically, this is not always true, but it is stereotypically in kind of in the majority rules kind of factor true, is that higher cost will bring higher quality of people. So if you have a more expensive place, if somebody is willing to pay that cost, it's typically because they find what you service them to be more valuable than people who don't pay that much cost. So if you have a personal trainer and say you charge $80 and everywhere else charges $40, if people think of you as valuable enough, they will pay the $80. Okay. Now, there's some pros and cons to that, and there's some, falsehoods to that, I guess, or exceptions. But in general, the higher cost you have, the higher quality of people you will get. So myself, for example, is I've paid for very expensive gyms, and I've even driven 50 minutes one way to a gym on a regular basis for multiple years. And I would train there 3 to 4 times a week. But it had the best equipment. It was an environment where you kind of got to do your own shit. No one really bothered you. They kept the place really nice and orderly and organized. So to me, all of those things were well worth passing multiple other gyms and paying significantly more so I could have all of those features. So you would have gotten a member like me. And I'm not too bad of a member. Might not be that great of a person or an owner, who knows? That's all up for debate. But I'm a pretty good gym member. I put everything away, and I don't beat the crap out of anything. So that's kind of the idea. Now, the cons, the negatives to pricing yourself too high, is you might actually outprice the area to where your growth will be very, very slow, meaning that you're not going to cover your expenses for a while. And you might actually just not get enough at all. So if I made my membership, say $200 a month, I might be able to find 5 or 6 people that would pay that much, but that's still not going to be enough to pay my bills. So that's where we talked about how do you find that just right amount. So my recommendations are going to be based off of the facts I just told you, and then also my story. So I'll tell you real quick a little bit about what I did with pricing. So a couple podcasts ago, and I'll put it in the description, the exact podcast number, is I told kind of the background story of how I started my gym, but I didn't really talk a lot about pricing. So this is the pricing specific type of story. Is with the gym, when I first started, I kind of made it the same price as the local area. So if the local area was $30 a month, I made mine $30 a month. And to me, it kind of like made sense in that I was trying to figure out for my overhead how much money it cost me per month to own the gym. How many people would I need at that cost? So at $30 a month, how many people would I need? And then I had to figure out, okay, can my facility hold that many people? Do I think I can actually get that many people interested in my facility over the other facilities? So I kind of had to take an educated guess. In my knowledge at that time, there was no calculations. There was really no anywhere I could go to kind of compute that answer. It was just shit luck and researching the other areas, like in the other place around me, and researching other gyms of the same size. But there was no definitive, this is the actual answer. It was basically just trial and error. So I started at the same cost as everyone else when I came to the gym. The positives of that was I grew pretty well. So Brutal Iron Gym grew well. We covered our bills within the first 2 months, and it had a lower barrier of acceptance. So if I was the same cost as everybody else, they assumed I was the same quality. So therefore, what did it matter? Why not walk into my place as opposed to any other place? So it kind of had like a faster acceptance into the community. Whereas if you price significantly too low, people think you're low quality. Well, that must only be worth that much. That's only why he's charging that much. Or if you price too high, they're going to think you're elitist and you're a jerk, and maybe they don't want your style of gym compared to another style. So I actually started equal with everybody else. The downside to that was, holy freaking crap, did we get a mix of quality of people. So when I first opened up, it was nice to have people come in and be able to pay my bills. That was fun. That was an enormous reduction of stress. But very quickly, there became quality of people that I didn't really want to be associated with. And this is a personal choice. I'm not saying necessarily that I'm better than anybody else. I'm just different. And the amount of difference I had versus them wasn't a difference that I didn't want to be around. So we'll say it that way. So I had a hard time at first correcting that. So I would, if somebody wanted to join and I didn't really like their character, I just never answered their emails, never answered their phone calls. I was lucky in the sense that my facility has locks on the doors 24/7. So we are a 24/7 facility. Therefore, for the protection of the members, no one can get in unless they have an access key. So if somebody came by the gym and they wanted to drop in, and I didn't want to talk to them, I just didn't open the door. And all of our current members know, do not open the door for guests. Now, this makes me sound like an absolute jerk, but it was nice in the sense that in the conversations I did have with people, they never were fun. So, and you can't always have fun with conversations, but I've been told to go F myself multiple times whenever somebody was able to get through the door and or they got a hold of me, and I came up with some bullshit excuse that they absolutely knew was bullshit of why they couldn't join. So they would say, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. We're not looking to expand our membership at the moment. Meanwhile, I'm like 2 months in and I'm accepting everyone else that they know. But it was my choice. And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to do the same or you might want to do the same and whatever. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, just saying it's an example. But when I opened up at a standard cost of everybody else, I got what everybody else got. So what I quickly did was I increased my membership up from $30 to $40. All of a sudden, that got rid of the people who were sitting on the equipment texting on their cell phones. but it still kept some of the buttheads who would pay more because they thought it made them look cool, and they kind of money wasn't a factor, but they were still like know-it-alls. They still came in loud as hell, brash, annoying, would bang stuff around, and just like douchey activities and attitudes, and it was just a pain in the butt. What helped me was another gym in the area opened up, and it came with it like a kind of a, to that crowd, it seemed like the cool place to be. So that crowd left, and thank God, that was a miracle. So that was amazing. So they left, and thank goodness I was left with all the good people. And what I found was, before that happened, and why I had already started trying to kick people out, was I found that one bad person would cause multiple good people to leave. So if there was somebody that came in at 5:30 every night and they were loud, obnoxious, always yelling across the gym, banging stuff around, trying to show off, that when that person was around, all of a sudden no one else would want to be around. So you might hear of like 2 or 3 really good members going to another gym, and I'd say, hey, what's happening? What's going on? And they're like, well, I don't really like coming in and seeing that guy around, that one guy. So we're going over here because it's just kind of nicer, it's quiet, or we don't have to deal with that guy. Well, it's like, shit, I don't want that guy either. So screw the money, I don't want that guy. And now he's costing me more money because I'm losing multiples of people. So I started kicking people out. I went ahead and had the tough conversations. I had people tell me to go screw myself. I had times where I had to sit in here till 3 or 4 in the morning when people try to sneak in with their key fobs, or they sneak in with a friend. I had to kick out all these people. So unfortunately, there was a small percentage of people who were piece of shit human beings that I had to deal with. And thankfully, by dealing with them, it got me down to the good ones. So I'm very, very, very blessed with the people I have now as members of our gym. They're all exceptional quality people. I know all their first names. I would feel comfortable having any of them to my house. I feel comfortable leaving my mom, who's a trainer at our gym. I can leave the gym and go do things I got to do, knowing my mom is there with members, but not have to worry about it. So they're all respectful. They're all really nice. Like I said, I know everybody's first name. I know all their addresses, so I can go find them. But it makes it nice now having a high quality of people. And now my job is to just protect that. So whereas when I price myself really low or comparative with everybody else, I got what everybody else got. And then I had to go through and try to correct that. I had to kick people out. And now that I have good people, it's much easier to manage the good than to kick out the bad. So that's what I've been doing now. And so that's what I would suggest is with yours, is your gym, is do not underprice, because you're going to get the poorest quality of people coming in. I would actually suggest you overprice a little. So if everywhere else is $30, make yours $35 or $40. If everywhere else is $40, make yours $45 or $50. Just go $5, $10 over. You might freak out, and if you do and you don't agree with me, fine. Price yourself the same as everybody else, and then in 6 months make the change, because you will have to. But by going $5 more, that does not distract good quality people. They will recognize a good gym. They will recognize a good owner. Okay? So if you price slightly above, make freaking sure you back it up. And this is true of trainers too, okay? So if you're going to price a little bit above everybody else, you have to provide service, attitude, character, all that stuff above everybody else. Okay? So back up your cost. Don't just charge more and be like everybody else. Charge more and be more than everybody else. Okay? So that's what I'd recommend, is overshoot just a smidge. Gets rid of the lowest of quality people. It'll start you with a better quality. You won't discourage anybody who's good quality, really, I promise. So you're going to get good quality people. Then only have one price, no discounts. Do not do discounts of any kind for any reason whatsoever. I'll talk about this more later on. But in general, is if you charge some people less, that means you are overcharging everybody else. So if I can afford to give you something for $10 less, where am I making up those $10? I'm going to make them up on everybody else's back, everybody else's dime. It's bullshit. So we've all been the person, like where you may go into a place and maybe you pay something full price, and then next week all of a sudden it's on sale for 50% off. Well, that sucks, doesn't it? Doesn't feel good that you had money that you earned and you worked hard for and you spent on this item, then all of a sudden that company can now sell that item for half the cost and still make money? That feels like crap. That doesn't feel good. So don't do that to your people. You wouldn't want it done to you. Why the hell would you do it to other people? You might think you're doing a service to the one or two people you're giving a discount to, but you are doing a disservice to all of the other people. So don't hurt hundreds just to save one or two. Okay, and I'll talk more about this in a second. But one price, no discounts on membership. Don't do part-time memberships. That's bullshit. Make people commit all the way to your gym in your facility or not. So I remember I had somebody come in and they said, hey, I work out at the local high school because I'm a coach. I have a membership at this other gym too. I really just want to come to your gym and do deadlifts. You have all the equipment and stuff for deadlifts. I just want to come here and do deadlifts. Since I only want to use this place for deadlifts, I'm willing to pay less. I'm willing to pay half the cost. To which I replied to them to go F themselves, because they're telling me they're willing to pay half. Bullshit, I'm not willing to charge you only half, asshole. So I was like, that is such an asshole move, it's ridiculous. So, but that was what I had somebody do. So they wanted to come in, use my $500 deadlift bar, use my $1,000 deadlift platform, use my couple $100 plates, $80 collars. They want to use the chalk that I have to pay to replace all the time. And then they're going to go in and use a toilet. They're going to run water. They're going to flush toilet paper down there. They're going to use paper towels. They're going to use all of that facility, and they're willing to pay me half the cost. That person is an asshole. So don't bring those people in, okay? So don't have people who don't commit. Make them commit all the way. It's either your facility or not. Do not take half the money, but get all of the wear and tear. Again, you are only hurting yourself, and that's only short-term money. You might make the money they hand to you that day, but you're going to give that money and more away the next time your bills come in. So don't do discounts. Don't do part-time memberships. Okay? And don't do contracts. There's no freaking point in doing contracts because you're not going to sue the people. And if they don't have money, how the hell are they going to pay it anyhow? Can't get blood from a stone. So if somebody can't pay their money, they're not going to, you can't sue them and threaten them and all of a sudden they have magically more money. So it isn't going to happen. They're just going to put you off and kind of hide and run away, and it's always going to be a huge pain in the ass and more time wasted trying to hunt them down. So no discounts, no part-time, and no contracts. Now, if you're not going to do contracts, make sure you don't have yearly service fees, because people will opt out the month from that gym when that service fee is. So if you have a service fee every October, all of a sudden in September, they say they want to cancel their membership, then November they come back. People will do that, okay? Don't put that above people. People do that. Even people who you think are good people will still do that because everybody watches out for themselves. So they're not going to care why you have that service fee. They don't give a shit if you need that to keep the business open. If your business closes, they'll just move to the next gym. So if it's a way for them to save money, they're going to do it. So factor out extra fees, okay, and put them into the monthly membership. That can be the reason why your membership is higher, by the way. So if everybody else is like $30 a month plus a $90 one-time a year fee, factor out that $90 into the monthly thing, then all of a sudden yours might be $35 a month. I'm just making up numbers, by the way. So you might charge $35 a month, but then say that, hey, we have no yearly fees, we have no extra fees whatsoever. It's just a straight up one-time cost, nothing extra. And that actually seems like a perk. So the person will pay more and think you're doing them a favor. So it's a great way to advertise it, okay? Then the other thing is auto draft everything. No cash whatsoever for membership. Absolutely no. No one pays on time. I started my gym with cash as an option for people to pay. No one paid on time. Even really good people did not pay on time. But guess what did come on time? My bills. So those damn bills came every damn month at the exact same time, all the time. But people do not pay on time. Even good people, even people who mean well, they will always opt out for what's best for them. Okay? So they're going to pay you a day or two late if it's what they needed to do for their family. But if it meant you went out of business, again, they don't give a shit. They'll move to the next gym. So auto draft everything, no cash whatsoever for membership. Okay? So, one price, no discount. No part-time people, make them commit. No contracts, factor out any extra fees into the monthly amount. And make everything auto draft, no cash whatsoever. Okay? This will result in your price being slightly above the locals, but that's okay because it's going to exclude the people who just want to come in there and piss around and not use anything correctly. And it's going to get better quality of people. And you're going to back it up. If you're listening to this podcast, I promise you're already the type of person who will give a better service than the average in the industry. So you're going to do better. You're going to give more than other gym owners. So go ahead and accept the cost of that. Like, go ahead and accept a little bit more income, okay? So that's what you should do for membership. Now, for personal training. My story was I started lower than the standard in the area. Like I said, I only charged $20 an hour, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, but it grew me very quickly. I very quickly got to 50 hours a week in-person clients. I was still writing all their nutrition plans and training plans on top of that time. I was running the gym, cleaning the gym, fixing shit in the gym, going to get new equipment for the gym. I was doing everything. So that was insane, stupid, insane hours. I don't know how the hell I did that for a couple years. And that's one of the reasons why when people ask me would I ever do this again, I really hesitate because that was a pretty damn miserable 3 or 4 years. So I remember the first 3 years, I maybe had 5 days off of the gym the entire year, each year. And from there on out, it was, 14, 16-hour days. And it was what I needed to do, and it was my dream, and I made the commitment. I signed the papers for the rent. I signed the paper for the loan. So I committed to it, and I owned up to it. So I'm glad I did it. But it sucked. Okay? So that's what I would suggest is what quickly happened to me was when I underpriced that low, I got absolutely slammed full. It brought tons of people in, and I actually had too low of pricing for too long. So I had clients telling me to charge them more because they could see that there was no way in hell I was going to maintain that pace. And also they were afraid that I would burn out and or lose them, quit them as clients. So I actually had clients pay me more. So I had clients who would just pay me, write me checks, or pay me the cash for $30 an hour instead of $20 an hour. And they would say, hey, please, if you make a reduction in time, please don't get rid of me. So I actually had people pay me more than they needed to, so that way I would keep them. And those people are freaking saints, and I love them. And they helped me gain confidence more and more as I was proving myself as a trainer. So thank you to each of you. I remember, I'm pretty sure I remember most of your names. So, because it was such a significant, big thing to me. So thank you very much to those who supported me and pushed me to actually charge you more money, which is amazing that you have the character to do that. So that's a good example, by the way, of how good of character members I had and clients. But that's what happened for me was I charged low, got slammed full, and then I went from $20 an hour to $30 an hour, and no one left. So it was still 50 hours a week. It was like, oh my God. So the money was nice, but holy shit, it didn't solve the problem of being overworked. So then I went to $40 an hour, and I actually kept around 40 to 45 hours of people. And then I just had to start telling people I'm sorry. So I didn't feel correct charging more because of the local area. And I knew the majority of them were starting to, $40 an hour was starting to kind of push their budgets. So rather than going to 50 and only keeping 10 people and really letting down a lot of people who were friends of mine at this point. $40 an hour was enough money for me to make a living and enough for me to be happy and pay my bills. So I just stopped it at 40, and then I apologized to the newest of the people and kept the oldest of the clients for whatever hours I could manage. So that was my story. Is I actually started what I would say is probably too low. And then I hung on to my low cost for too long. So my suggesting when it comes to personal training costs are to do the industry standard or slightly below. So very slightly below. So if the industry standard is $40 an hour, take yours at 30 or 35 an hour. Don't do 20 like I did. You'll die. So, but being slightly below, when you first start, brings people in. You then prove your knowledge, and then you increase your costs. So if you have hours per week that you know you're going to train, so say you're going to commit to 30 hours a week. Once you hit 30 hours a week full and consistent, and then you have a waiting list. So like I always have a waiting list, which is super awesome and thankful. I'm very thankful and blessed for. But once you have a waiting list and you're like, holy crap, like I could really take, 35 or 40 hours if I wanted to, then go ahead and bump your cost up. So I would tell any trainer now is every 6 months analyze what you're charging. Am I still charging the right cost, or am I charging too low now given the growth that I've had? And hopefully you haven't had like negative where you're no longer giving a shit and now you're not worth what you're charging. So, but every 6 months kind of reanalyze what you're charging. And don't think you're married to your mistakes. Okay. So when I first charged 20, I did not move up fast enough. I waited way too damn long. I got the growth that I wanted, but then I should have just moved up immediately. So that's what I'm telling you guys is every 6 months, reanalyze your cost, move up if you're completely full and you have a waiting list. If the demand is larger than the supply, you can increase the cost. Okay. So again, I would also have minimal pricing options with discounts only being if somebody acquires more services or promises for longer duration. So you want to have very few pricing options, maybe 2, 3 at most.